It happened so quick the first time, like a blink and you would miss it kind of fast. I was taking one of my daily evening walks I took every night. As I was crossing the street heading back to my house, I saw the bright lights of the car coming straight towards me. Then seconds later, I saw nothing, and I was taken to a new existence, one that I learned is not very pleasant. Before I get to all that, let me introduce myself. My name is Joe, and I'm a pretty normal guy. I'm 30 years old, and I work as a construction worker. I'm not married, and I don't have any kids. The only company I have is my bulldog, Russell. I live in a simple one-story house and don't really go out that much. I don't have any friends, and the only visitor I get from time to time is my younger sister, Janice. As my parents moved almost 5 hours from where I lived, I didn't have a good relationship with them. I felt they didn't accept me where I ended up in life. While my sister was rich, living the life in Los Angeles as an executive producer for a hit show, I was stuck in a mediocre job, barely paying the bills. I had a great relationship with my sister though. We would go out for coffee once a month if she was available. She also had 2 kids who I also had a good relationship with. I was good old Uncle Jay to them. I'm a pretty boring guy, to be honest. The only fun thing I really enjoy doing is taking long evening walks by myself. You're probably wondering why I don't take Russell with me. Russell doesn't like going out at night. He whimpered the whole time I took him out one time, and it was a constant drag during. I didn't mind not having him though. Most people feel safe having a dog with them on walks at night, but I never felt fear from the night. I loved the quietness of everything, so peaceful and relaxing. I would think a lot on my walks, about my life, jobs, future, etc. Now back to the story. I don't remember feeling any pain from the impact. As soon as the car hit me, everything went black. I found myself falling into complete and utter darkness. I landed with a hard thump on the ground after falling for what felt like forever. I don't know when, but I eventually woke up after the fall. The impact caused me to black out for God knows how long. I stood up, staring into the emptiness of the dark void around me. "Hello?" I called out as my voice echoed all around me. Nothing but my voice echoing all around me. I started to panic then. Am I dead? Is this heaven or hell? Is this where we go when we die? Suddenly, a loud voice boomed behind me. "Joe Defford, your trial will commence." I felt 2 huge hands suddenly lift me up from the ground. While screaming and crying out, I tried to scramble around and escape the grips, but they were too strong. The voice then spoke again. "Stop your petty cries. They will do you no go where you may go." I could barely whimper out, Where am I?" The voice was silent, then it boomed, making my eardrums ring as I heard it say, "You are in the forgotten, a void between space and time, where you will be judged for your sins." I asked again a little louder, "Are you God?" The voice laughed, a laugh that made the void around me shake. "Stupid human, there is no God, there is only us, the elders. We have ruled this universe before time even existed. We are the creators and the destroyers." I couldn't comprehend what I was hearing now. I wasn't a religious guy at all, but I still believed there was a God in this world. Now, to know we are ruled by a group of such powerful beings truly terrified me. "Why can't I see you?" I asked. The voice said a little softer, "We have no form. Our form is only visible among ourselves. If I were to show you my form, You would be blinded for all eternity. I thought now, what being could be so powerful? Its looks alone could blind someone. What will they do with me? I can read your thoughts, human. To answer you again, I am judging you to see where your presence belongs now. The voice paused then said, Joe Defford, your sins have been collected. We shall now see where you belong. Suddenly, I was taken to a place so horrible and disturbing that I couldn't even open my eyes once I saw it. Fire was all around me. I looked around to see people burning alive and being tortured in the most painful and unimaginable ways. I opened my eyes again to see the hands reaching down and pulling me into the fire. I screamed and kicked with no results. They kept dragging me down as their screams filled my ears. Then, I was back in the void. I heard the voice boom now. You are lucky, human. The council has spoken, and we have decided to give you another chance. Your sins have not been forgotten though. Be wise with the choices you make now. I felt myself falling again now, into the void, going deeper and deeper as my screams echoed all around me. I then suddenly woke up to find myself in the hospital. I looked to see my sister and the doctor looking at me, bewildered. How is this possible? I heard the doctor say. How long was I out for? I asked in a weak voice. Joe, you were dead for 12 hours, my sister said with tears in her eyes as she hugged me. Dead? 12 hours? I thought. It felt like maybe an hour when I was in there. The doctor just stared at me now, still with a bewildered look in his eyes. After a couple more minutes, the doctor finally said, How do you feel? Fine, I said. Fine? You have 6 cracked ribs, a concussion, one of your legs is broken, and your collarbone is broken. He said in shock. Why don't I feel it? I can't move one of my legs, but it feels like it's asleep, not broken. My head doesn't hurt at all. I can breathe normally. My ribs feel fine. I touched them and could feel multiple cracks. Nothing. The doctor kept me in the hospital for the next week, with my sister visiting almost every day. She constantly asked me what happened after I died, what I saw. I didn't want to tell her though, not because I was afraid she wouldn't believe me, but because I didn't want to think about what I saw. The horrors of what I believed to be hell gave me frequent nightmares. The arms, I could still feel them wrapping themselves around me, dragging me below. The doctor eventually let me out after some convincing from my sister and me. When I got home, my mind thought to the last thing the elder said to me. Your sins have not been forgotten though. Be wise with the choices you make now. What did he mean by that? Sure, I've made mistakes in the past, even was a smoke addict once. I got over that though, and I don't drink or do anything remotely like that. I just decided I was given a second chance for a reason. So how did I use that chance? I continued living the same. I felt there were no problems in my life, otherwise I would have been sent to hell. Life continued on normally for the next 15 years. I eventually met a woman named Michelle, who would eventually become my wife. We had 3 kids, 2 girls and 1 boy, and we lived simple and well. I continued my job as a construction worker and even got promoted a couple years ago. My salary went up significantly and we moved into a new home last year that was much bigger than the one before. Russell died a couple years ago and we got a new bulldog named Sarah. Unlike Russell, she loved going on night walks with me as we went every night together. I realized I enjoyed having more company with me on these walks. I never realized how lonely it was until I had someone with me. Sarah was my protector, as anyone who would pass on walks, she would growl until I told her to calm down. I never told Michelle that I had died before. She knew I was in a car accident, but she didn't know what I experienced at that time. On my 45th birthday, me and my family decided to go out and eat at our favorite restaurant the next door. After dinner, they surprised me with a huge chocolate cake, which was my favorite. I looked around as I was eating my cake and realized how good of a life I had now. I had a wonderful wife, beautiful family. This was my second chance. As we walked home from dinner, we decided to take a trail we knew was a shortcut to our house. On the trail, we looked at the beautiful stars in the sky in the night and talked as we walked. Then, I saw a man approaching us quickly. He had all black on, and I couldn't see his face until he got closer. He had dark swollen eyes with big purple bags hanging from his eyes. He was tall and skinny and had short black hair. He stopped right in front of us and reached into his pocket, where he pulled out a gun. "Everything you got," he said in a deep, gruff voice. My kids started to cry, and the man pointed the gun at them, screaming, "Tell the little brats to shut the hell up or I'll make them." My wife hushed the kids as we gave the man our wallets. He took them, then pointed his gun at Michelle's ring and said, "The ring, give it to me." My wife looked at the ring, then at me, and said to the man, "No, give me the damn ring or I'll blow your brains out," he said, pointing the gun at her head. Michelle again somehow said in a calm voice, "No." I wasn't surprised. She loved that ring with everything she had. It was a big diamond ring which was very expensive and that I gave to her in Hawaii when I proposed. I looked at her terrified, but she looked back at me, somehow with a calm expression. "Stupid bitch," I heard the man say, pointing the gun even closer to her. Without even thinking, I ran towards him and tackled him. We wrestled for a bit on the ground, then we both heard a loud bang from the gun. The man got up after the shot and fled. As people now were visible on the trail, I looked down and touched my stomach, and to my shock, my hands were red with blood. My family screamed when I fell to the ground, blood coming out more rapidly from my stomach where the shot was. People on the trail started to run towards us as I heard my wife say with tears in her eyes, "Hang in there, honey, you'll be okay. Please stay with us." The world started to turn black now. No, not now. Not when everything is so perfect. I could hear the cries of my wife and children as people crowded around. Then, I was gone. I was falling again now, the feeling all too familiar. I landed with a loud thump on the ground. Then I stood up quickly and started banging my hands on the ground, with tears in my eyes. "Why now? Why?" I screamed into the dark void. Everything was right. My life was so perfect. Then the elder booms his voice. "Silence, human!" I stopped screaming, still with tears in my eyes. "We gave you another chance, but yet here you are," the elder said. "It wasn't my fault. I was protecting my family," I screamed back, not caring anymore what they would do to me. The voice was quiet, then it boomed louder than I had ever heard it before. "No human has ever spoken to the elders like that. You should beg for sins to be healed." Then the arms came and picked me up again. I kicked and screamed even louder. The fire then came into view. The all too familiar screams and cries came back. "No, not again," I screamed as I felt the arms pull me down. I begged for mercy and cried to the elders. They didn't come, and as I got closer and closer to the fire, I thought to my family, my beautiful wife, my wonderful kids. Tears poured out of my eyes, knowing I would never see them again. I closed my eyes, the image of my family in my mind. When I opened my eyes again, I was back in the void. I got up as I heard the voice boom, "Kneel!" I kneeled quickly, unsure of what was going to happen. Although you disrespected us, we have decided to give you mercy and one final chance. We have seen what you have done with your life now. You have finally found value in this world." I cried tears of joy, knowing I would see my family again. Then the voice said, "Know this, Joe Defford. This truly is your final chance. If you die again, you will never return to the real world." "I know. Thank you," I said quietly. I closed my eyes and started to fall again into the darkness. As I fell though, instead of fear, I felt the first time. I felt happy. I was going to be with my family, see them grow up and be a father to them. I closed my eyes, smiling as a single tear rolled down my face. I opened my eyes and found I was in hospital again. My family were all sitting in chairs crying, but once they saw me, they ran over now crying tears of joy. I hugged them with all my might, crying as well. The next 5 years were great, but the last 15 years have been a living hell. My daughters grew up fine and were wonderful until high school. Then they started to hang with the wrong crowd, smoking and drinking all the time. We argued with them all the time, but they never listened. They continued to drink and smoke until one night I got a call from the police. My daughters were in a car accident and all died upon impact. The police learned from a friend of theirs that when they left the party they were at, they were extremely drunk. The friend tried to warn them, but they didn't listen. Michelle and I were heartbroken, and the death of our daughters is what led us to our divorce shortly after. While my daughters became a mess, my son was perfect. He was everything a parent would want a child to be. He was kind, smart, intelligent, and never argued with us. I loved him so much, and I was shattered when Michelle took him away after the divorce. They moved all the way to New York, and I've never seen my son since. I've tried writing to him, but never got a response. I tried calling, but he never answered. When all couldn't get worse, my sister got cancer a couple of months ago, and she died last week. Everything was gone now. As I sat on my couch one day, drinking, I thought to myself, did they know this was going to happen? Is that why they sent me back? Was this my punishment for disrespecting them? I sit here now writing this with a gun in my hands. I want everyone to know that there may be a God, but there isn't just one, and they are not forgiving. If you ever disrespect them, you will be cursed like I have been. I was given 2 chances, and I have wasted both of them. I am ready now to accept my fate. I have seen hell and have truly experienced it. I no longer have a purpose for this world, but I have one in the void, and it's calling to me now.